Hello everyone, how are you doing today? Warm greetings and I welcome all of you to this English class of class 10. The topic that I am proposing today is a one-act play written by Anton Chekhov, and the name of the play is The Proposal. So let us get started with this fine chapter written by Anton Chekhov. So let's begin with the dramatist and examine his details. The dramatist, as I told earlier, is Anton Chekhov, who was born in Russia in the year 1860 and died in Germany in 1904. He was a Russian playwright and is considered a master of the modern short story. He was a literary artist of laconic precision. Now the question arises, what's the meaning of laconic precision? The word obviously means that he was a man of few words. He used to describe the characters and the storyline in minimum use of word. So that was his talent. And he probed below the surface of life, laying bare the secret motives of his characters. Chekhov's best plays and short stories lack complex plots and need solutions. The meaning is that they may not be having very complicated storyline or plot development, and they may not end or provide a very logical solution towards the end. It may not be so in the work of Anton Chekhov, but they all depicted the Russian art and culture beautifully. Chekhov has described the Russian life of his time, and he has used a deceptively simple technique devoid of obtrusive literary devices, and he is regarded as the outstanding representative of the late 19th century Russian realist school. So he has depicted a realistic picture of Russia and its lifestyle in his stories and plays. So that's the detail about the author. So let's move on to the next. So here are the details of the play, which begins with Lomov entering his neighbor Chubukov's house. Okay, so first let me read the lines to you and then I will give the explanation. The curtain rises with Lomov entering his neighbor Chubukov's house fully dressed up in his evening attire. Chubukov is surprised to see him well dressed and asks him the occasion. Lomov reveals that he had come to make a request. Chubukov anticipates that he must have come to ask for money which he doesn't intend to give. So this is how the play begins. When the curtain rises, we find that there are two characters on the stage. One is Chubukov and the other one is Lomov. Lomov is a neighbor of Chubukov, and Chubukov is a middle-aged man, as we can see in this picture. And Chubukov has visited Lomov's house. Now there must be some reason. As neighbors, Chubukov perhaps has a better idea of Lomov's character or habits. That is why he assumes that perhaps he has come to ask for some money. He wants him to lend some money to him. So this is what he thinks, and obviously that is something which Chubukov doesn't want to do. And he asks Lomov about his intention or the reason of visiting him. On hearing this, Lomov says that he has come to make a request. So obviously this request is something which is not clear here. So let us find out what this request was about. So in the next part of the play, we see that Lomov reveals his intentions. So let me read the lines first and then I will give you the explanation. On being revealed that Lomov had come to ask for Chubukov's daughter Natalia's hand in marriage, Chubukov gets filled with excitement and leaves to call Natalia. Lomov is a 35-year-old gentleman who suffers from palpitations, gets upset very easily and doesn't sleep well. He thinks it is the best age for him to get married and he is happy that he has his mind made up about Natalia. So, in the next part of the play, we find that Lomov has revealed his intentions of marrying Natalia and he has brought a marriage proposal for Natalia. When Natalia's father, Chubukov, hears about the proposal that Lomov has come not to ask for money but for Natalia's hand, that fills him with hope and excitement. He is overjoyed because he knows that his daughter is at the right age of getting married. And he has not been able to find a suitable groom for Natalia till now. So obviously the proposal makes him immensely happy and he immediately goes into the house and he wants to give this message or give this news to Natalia. Okay? So here we find that the stage is vacated. There is only one person present on the stage and that is Lomov. And Lomov starts thinking. And whatever he is thinking, he speaks his mind in front of the audience. So he says that it is the right age for him to get married as he is already 35 years old. Not only that, he suffers from certain physical ailments like palpitations. Now what is palpitations? Fast beating of your heart. So he suffers from palpitations. He is very easily upset about even trivial issues, things which should not matter, that also upsets him. So he is very oversensitive, okay? And he does not sleep well. He is not able to sleep peacefully at night. So these are the problems or health issues that Lomov is facing. And he feels that the obvious solution for all these problems would be getting married. I don't know how many of you would agree with this, but then Lomov feels so that the best solution for his ailments, for his problems is to get married. I don't know whether the problem is going to come to an end or begin further. Okay, so let us examine the next part of the play in order to understand what happens after the proposal is made. Does Natalia accept the proposal or does she reject him? So in this part, we find that Lomov is specifying the reasons for liking Natalia. And he says that Natalia is average looking and a good housekeeper. And then Natalia arrives. When Natalia arrives, Lomov begins the conversation about how grateful and glad he is that both their families are on good terms since the very beginning. While continuing to talk about his land, he somehow mentions about Oxen Meadows, which earlier was a disputed property but is now his. So this is how trouble begins. They start talking because Natalia has come and Natalia finds him well dressed, all decked up as if he is going to a party or something. So she obviously asks this question that what brings him there to her house, and she also asks that what's the purpose. She obviously finds him very dressed, somewhat overdressed. Okay, so she asks this question and Lomov gives a suitable answer. And after that they start talking with each other, and in the conversation they start talking about their land, about their properties, and somewhere in the conversation It is Lomov who mentions that there is a part of property, Oxen Meadows is the name of that property, and Lomov says that these Oxen Meadows are his. And he also agrees to the fact that earlier it was a disputed property between the two neighbors, that is Chubukovs and Lomovs. This is something which creates a furor, which creates a nasty argument, pepping up. And then what happens is something which I would like to tell you in the next slide. Natalia couldn't believe a word he was saying because she believes that Oxen Meadows belong to her family. Both of them enter into a heated discussion and act childishly when Chubukov enters just to get the conversation more heated. They shout and scream while Lomov suffers from extreme pounding of the heart, a side pull, and a numb foot. They throw Lomov out of the house and continue cursing him. So this is what happens in the next part of the play, and we find that Natalia, when she comes to know that Oxen Meadows belongs to Lomov, is completely shocked and surprised. And she doesn't believe a word that Lomov is saying, and she tells him that it is wrong and Oxen Meadows belongs to Chubukovs. Okay, so there is a nasty debate which crops up, and they start discussing, and the debate turns a little vulgar, it becomes a little aggressive, and they start calling each other names. And this is how the marriage proposal goes into oblivion. Okay, so this is how the reason for which Lomov had come to Natalia's house is completely forgotten. And both of them, both Natalia and Lomov, they start arguing. And when the argument gets heated up, there is this man Chubukov. He also enters, he's Natalia's father, and on coming to know about the reason of the argument, he also sides with Natalia. And there is a very fierce debate and a very heated argument that ensues. There is a quarrel that ensues, and these people, they start shouting and screaming at each other. They start calling each other names, and then Lomov suffers from deep pounding of the heart. He is, as I have already told you, a sick person, and that's one of the reasons why he feels that he should get married. And when he's arguing a lot, there is a pounding of the heart, and there is a side pull. He feels that his sides are pulling apart. So that is something which creates problem with him, and his foot has also gone numb. He's not having any sensation in one of his feet. So these are the problems that he faces, and that makes him very, very upset. And then what happens? Out of sheer rage and anger, the Chubukovs, that is Natalia and Chubukov, Natalia's father, they throw Lomov out of their house and they continue cursing him. So this is how this play, which was about a marriage proposal, develops into a fight between neighbors. Okay. Okay, so let us see what happens after that. While speaking ill of him, Chubukov unintentionally reveals that he had come with a marriage proposal for Natalia, which surprises Natalia, and she immediately regrets sending him out. She tells her father to bring him back immediately, and Chubukov curses himself on being a father of a grown-up daughter. So this is what happens. Okay, now father and daughter are left alone on the stage because they have already thrown Lumov out of their house. So Lumov is not there on the stage. Now what happens? They start talking and they are quite angry at Lumov. So obviously they are speaking ill of him. Okay, and in the meantime, while speaking with Natalia, Chubukov, he reveals the real reason for which Lumov had come to the house. And the real reason, as we know, was to ask for Natalia's hand in marriage. When Natalia comes to know that Lumov had come there with a marriage proposal, she immediately regrets the argument which has cropped up and which ultimately resulted in the ouster of Lumov from her house. And she regrets this fact too much because she also believes and is convinced that Lumov is a suitable match for her. And she immediately regrets this and she tells her father that go and bring Lumov back. And she wails and starts crying. She throws a tantrum. So that way she becomes very, very hysterical and she asks her father to bring him back. Her father, that is Chubukov, is obviously embarrassed because he has just now fought with Lumov. So how would it be possible for him to go and call Lumov back? And that is why in his frustration Chubukov curses himself and he says, oh God, what a burden it is to be a father of a grown-up daughter. But this daughter does not want to listen to anything. She is all consumed with pain and misery that she has thrown Lumov out of her house when he had come with a golden proposal for her. So in this frustration and anger, Chubukov leaves the house, leaves the stage, and he goes in search of Lumov. When Lumov returns, Natalia tries to deviate to another topic and starts talking about shooting. Somehow, they enter into an argument involving their dogs. Natalia feels that her squeezer is better than Lumov's guess. They continue arguing when Chubukov enters the scene only to make the situation worse once again. Everyone gets hyper and Lumov finally falls due to his palpitations. Even then, the cursing continues. When suddenly Natalia notices that he is unconscious. So this is what happens in this part. Lumov comes back because he has been called back by Chubukov because Natalia was demanding that Lumov should be brought back to the house. So when Lumov returns, Natalia tries to soothe him and she offers an apology to Lumov and agrees with him that yes, of course, Oxen Meadows belongs to him, not her. Okay, so that way there is some kind of agreement, some kind of soothing behavior from both the sides, and they both agree that there is no argument on this fact, and they start speaking with each other. But Natalia this time starts an argument over dogs. Okay, so they start fighting over the dogs that they have, the pet dogs. Natalia has Squeezer, whereas Lumov has Guess, and both are deeply convinced that their dog is the best dog. And that is why Natalia and Lumov, they start arguing once again. Earlier, if you remember, they were fighting about property, and now that matter is sorted out. Now they start fighting about their pet dogs. So this is something which is very hilarious and funny, and in the background we have to consider the fact that adds to the fun element in this play is that Lumov had all the time come to this Natalia's house to ask for her hand, but the moment there is some kind of discord, he starts arguing. He breaks into an argument, and that argument gets bitter and bitter. So obviously what is Anton Chekhov trying to do here? He's trying to create a situation in which people fall into matrimony without looking into the fact whether they are compatible with each other or not, whether they truly love and respect each other or not. Here we find that Natalia or Lumov for that matter, they do not love each other. They are just getting married because of convenience, because of the benefits that will accrue to both of them. And that's the reason, that is the reason of this marriage taking place. And obviously we can say that this is not a sufficient reason to get married or get settled, right? So once again they start fighting. Once again, they start arguing, and this time they are arguing about their dogs. And everyone gets hyper, the situation gets out of control, and Chubukov comes on the stage, and again he sides with his daughter and he calls names to Lumov. And in this state of mind, Lumov starts feeling sick once again, and he says that he's suffering from palpitations, and finally because of his tension he falls down on the floor. He falls unconscious. But even then, Natalia and Chubukov, they keep on cursing him. When suddenly what happens, Natalia notices that her neighbor has fallen sick and perhaps has fallen unconscious, or maybe he might be dead. Now, Lumov has fallen on the ground and he is unconscious. Now, Natalia and her father, they try to bring him back to his senses. They try to get water down his throat, but end up getting unsuccessful, declare him dead. It is only when Lumov moves a little bit, they feed him some water, and Chubukov forcefully hands over Natalia's hands to him, gives his blessings, and asks them to kiss. Lumov, still not fully conscious, doesn't understand what is going on. When he finally comes to his senses, he expresses his excitement and kisses Natalia's hands. Natalia, being childish as she is, manipulates him into accepting that Squeezer is better than Guess. But Lumov, being adamant as he is, refuses to accept it. Thus, once again, the quarreling continues. So this is how the play comes to an end. There is no definite ending. There is no obvious or logical, ending. But then, if you look at it from another angle, you find that this is a very suitable ending given to the play by Anton Chekhov. So let me first come to the points that are important here on this slide. So what happens, because Lumov has fallen down and he's unconscious, so they sprinkle some water on him. They just try to make him drink some water, and that brings about a movement in Lumov. And when they find that Lumov is moving, they are relieved. They take a sigh of relief, thinking that he's not dead. Okay, and after that, Chubukov, he doesn't want to let this opportunity or let this time be missed, and he immediately hands over Natalia's hands to him and gives his blessings to both the bride and groom, and he asks them to kiss. So obviously the marriage is on the cards, right? And Lumov, who is still not recovered from his unconscious state, he's still in in a very confused state of mind. And he agrees, and he is very happy and to have found a wife, and he also kisses Natalia's hands, and that is how the marriage proposal is in a way solemnized, in a way made final. Okay, and Natalia, she is very immature, and she says again the same thing to Lumov, and she says that, but Lumov, what do you think? Which dog is better, yours or mine? And again she tells him that it's Squeezer that is a better dog than Guess. And again there is an argument that crops up, and this time nobody wants to let go. That's the problem here. And then again Lumov starts discussing and arguing with Natalia that his dog is better, and this is how this quarreling continues and the play comes to an end. So in the end, we come to a conclusion that marriages which are not based on compatibility end up in, pain and tension for both the parties. So there is an important lesson which this Anton Chekhov's play is teaching to the audience, and that message is that when we are planning to get married, we have to think wisely. We have to think and choose our life partner in a very suitable and serious manner. Just material benefits cannot be a solid base of a happy married life. So, this is what the play teaches us. I hope you people have enjoyed, and well, I hope you people have enjoyed, and with this, we have come to the end of this particular play written by Anton Chekhov. And he has depicted a very nice situation, which is a universal situation, we can say. It is not just that such situations emerge in one part of the world. This is something which may happen in India, which very quite often happens in our country, in our society, that people, people fall into matrimony with a view on the property of the groom or the bride. So this is something which is a common problem that society faces. This can be called one of the vices of the society. So we have to think properly and seriously before we get married. This is the message of the play. This is something which the play is trying to teach us. Not only that, it has brought to the surface the hypocrisy, the double standard, the pretentious behavior of people around us who live in the society and call themselves so very educated and elite, right? So this is how the play comes to an end. I hope you people have enjoyed, and complete the assignments which are uploaded in Google Classroom. Bye bye. I will see you in the next video.